Hello and welcome to this 13-minute introduction for the audio-described performance of A Brief History of Difference, which contains descriptions of the set, props and performer. A Brief History of Difference will be playing in the former women's locker room in Summerhall. The pre-recorded audio-described performance is on Tuesday the 20th of August at 4:15 p.m. The production lasts for 60 minutes and is described by Megan Brooks. A Brief History of Difference is performed by Dar, who moves around the space confidently as they talk to us. When they dance, it is with total conviction to the moment. Their dancing is joyful, untrained and wild, flinging their arms and legs in abandon, or moving isolated body parts jerkily to or against the beat of the music. There is a wash of playful pleasure that emanates from their movements. Here is Dar to describe themselves in their own words.
Hi, I'm Dar. My gender is post-binary. I'll explain more about that in the show. My pronouns are they, them, but I don't get upset if people use she, her, which they sometimes do. I'm white. I'm fairly kind of average shade of white. I'm not like really pale, but nor am I very tanned. My eyes are blue, and sometimes they're very bright blue if the sun is shining and I'm by the sea, and other times they're a bit more on the grey side. I wear a bit of generally green eyeshadow and some eyeliner and mascara, but I tend to rub my face, so that might be off by the time I perform the show. My hair is natural colour is brown. At the back it goes just below my collar, pretty shaved, very short at the sides, and about 2 inches kind of on the top and around the back. And I dye that red and orange, and there's some white bits in, kind of mingled in with my brown hair. So on a good day, a bit like fire. My height is, I'm just over 5'6", and I used to be 5'7.5", but I guess people shrink as they get older, and I'm 55. My face shape, I've got quite a long face, I think, and it's quite liney around the eyes and on my forehead and around my mouth. I guess that's because I'm quite an expressive person and I'm getting on a bit. I've got a nose piercing through my nostril on the right side, and I've got a number of piercings in my ears. I've got tattoos on my arm and on my back, some of which might be on show within the show. I've got a couple of pylons and a pigeon. It's various other things. In terms of what I'll be wearing, I'll start the show wearing a blue boiler suit and Dr. Martin kind of heavy shoes and leg warmers. And on the boiler suit, I'll have pinned a number of different badges or patches. The most important one is one my friend made. It's an amulet. She said it'll protect me. It's got googly eyes and it's made of lots of sequins and fabric. So that'll probably be pinned somewhere near my heart. I change costume halfway through the show. I'll be wearing bright orange wide leg jeans, and I have a number of pigeon t-shirts of different colours. So I'll have one of those on, and I'll also have another t-shirt on which is bright orange and says "Pretend I'm a pigeon." I'll also have a label on. There's a number of labels in this show, but I'll definitely start with a label that says "Happy to help," because I am. And I'll definitely end with a label that says "Unsolved," and another label that says "Post-binary." And I'll explain more of that in the show.
The former women's locker room is a rectangular space 5.2 metres by 8.5 metres, with the entrance located around the midpoint of one of the shorter sides. At the time of recording, the walls are a worn white and the ceiling a pale beige, from which hang fluorescent light strips. The floor is a scuffed lacquered grey with the remnants of a white square painted in the centre. Clutches of seats nestle along the length of the room, facing inwards on both sides. Becky Davis is the artist and creative designer on the production and has turned the space into an exhibition. Paintings, collages and sculptures made from furniture line the outer edges of the playing area. The layout gives the impression that bits and pieces from the interior of someone's house have been lifted out and dropped into the space. To the left of the entrance is a chair and small table for the show technician. Next to this, a microphone rests on a tall stand besides a large amplifier which holds a clutch of papers that Dar reads from during the show. At the far left corner and along the far wall is an ensemble of shrines. The first is a pigeon sculpture made from an old-fashioned parrot cage painted bright blue, which sits on curved orange legs. On top of the cage is a tiny, high-backed wooden chair with a pigeon's head painted on the fabric backrest. Two large papier-mâché wings protrude from the sides of the cage, and inside the metal belly of the sculpture hang pigeon paraphernalia, plastic action figures including an action man sitting astride a branch, and deep blue monochrome prints of pylons and trees, cyanotypes that Dar has created. An open-backed shelving unit painted a vivid red and holding a lime green towel rail on its shoulders stands next to the bird cage. Fixed to the towel rail is a thick piece of corrugated plastic sheet, illuminated from behind. On it is a translucent image of Dar, hands on thighs, leaning over their brother, who kneels in front. They both grin gleefully. The shelves below the towel rail are littered with a myriad of items, including a tiny baby-sized silver bangle, photos, a collection of ID badges, books of philosophers and poetry, and childhood drawings. In front of the bookcase is a small round wooden coffee table holding printed papers and a lamp with a bright pink shade. Next to the table is a short oblong stool with acid green legs and a 1970s style dusky pink tasselled top. To the right of the bookcase is a 3-panelled room divider made from woven paper fibre and plastered with postcards and photos of Dar's friends and family. There is a focus on Woody, Dar's Staffordshire Bull Terrier. His thick-framed face, greying muzzle and soulful eyes feature heavily amongst the photos. Perched on top of the divider is a realistic plastic pigeon. At its side hangs a navy blue tie with horizontal green stripes and some rosary beads. Halfway along the right wall, a rectangle around 9 foot long and 5 foot wide is marked in red tape on the floor. Dar sometimes uses this rectangle to dance in, although they also dance around the rest of the playing space. Inside the rectangle, an orange painted piano stool rests, its seat open and an assortment of small white labels and plastic pegs nestled inside. There is an invitation for audience members to take a label at random and peg it to themselves. To the right of the rectangle is a tall wooden hat stand painted a shocking pink. From it hangs a bright pumpkin orange bomber jacket covered in large glitzy sequins which sparkle under the lights. Sagging over another hook is a full-head rubber pigeon mask. The mask has an orange-tipped beak and large orange eyes set in a quizzical, pigeony expression. On the very top of the stand sits another plastic pigeon, as if in a nest. In the corner to the right of the entrance is a small rattan corner unit. It holds a photo of Dar in graduation robes, a baby ukulele, and the New Testament in Greek. Around the edges of the room hang 3 huge patchwork quilts with geometrical designs in baby pinks, pale blues, moss greens and stone greys, onto which have been applied paintings, pictures and words. The first of the quilts has a colourful illustration of a fat chicken on it, in warm hues of oranges and reds. It faces sideways and has a graphic novel quality about it. It appears quite cross. Its eyebrow is furrowed over its piercing black eye. By the chicken's feet, nesting in a green takeaway box, is a cartoon-like image of chicken nuggets. Above the chicken, in large black capitals on a bright pink background, reads the word metanoia. The next quilt is a plain eggshell blue and contains a black and grey painting of the French philosopher Pierre Bourdieu in the bottom half. He wears a checked suit jacket and sits with his face in his hand. The realistic painting gradually fades towards the bottom, becoming a basic line drawing. 2 colourful pigeons adorn the top corners of Pierre's image. From around the neck of one hangs a red sign that says, "The dance of how does my body take pleasure in its otherness?" From the claws of the other hangs an orange picture titled "Dead White Frenchmen." It contains an illustration of Da, one hand over their face, their other holding a picture of Pierre Bourdieu. A painting of Da's dad looks on from behind. In the top portion of the quilt, appliqué letters read, "Neither feel like mother tongue. You're always uncomfortable." The final quilt holds a painted black and white image of the French philosopher Michel Foucault, a white, bald man in glasses who is holding a cat rendered in bright pink. Small printed photos of philosophers from the past and present fill the left space of the quilt amongst patches of bright pink and red fabric. At the top, black capitals on orange shout, "We must resist." Speckled around the space are life-size plastic pigeons, nestled in corners and crevices or arrogantly roosting amongst the objects. Some look worse for wear with broken beaks or scruffy bodies, much like their living counterparts. The performance space is lit by a warm wash of domestic lamps and lights, from adjustable metal-framed angle poise lamps to table and floor lamps, painted in vibrant colours and capped with large bold shades. These are supported by a spattering of stage lights, which turn blue when Da raps, or gently flash with bright colours during some of the movement sequences. A Brief History of Difference is performed by Da. Direction is by Joe Fong. Design and artwork is by Becky Davis. The technical manager is Kerry Benjamin. Audio description is by Megan Brooks. A Brief History of Difference is a Das Clark's production. Venue access. The main entrance to Summerhall is via 9 steps without a railing. Once through the doors, the box office is located on your right. The former women's locker room is situated in the basement of Summerhall and can be accessed by stairs or the main hall lift. There are toilets on the basement level. For further information on access, including step-free access, parking and drop-off points, please visit www.summerhall.co.uk/about/accessibility. That is the end of this audio introduction. We hope you enjoy the performance.